You guys for joining us for this professional development opportunity. Today we're going to be looking at what resources do you have available to actually help you utilize proficiency scales right now within your classroom. Let's go ahead and get started.
Before we begin, take a minute and please write down these two websites or go ahead and bookmark them in your web browser, as the bulk of our math resources, especially related to scales, can be found on either website. The first resource that we're going to locate is called a correlations table. This document will help you to determine which scales are needed for each module and topic that you cover in your Carnegie material. I'm going to show you two ways to access those tables. The first way is on our WPS Math website. Once you go to our website, if you scroll down to the first subheading, that's Scales and SRG, there are two links towards the bottom of the list. One says Middle School Correlation Table, one says High School Correlation Table. If I'm a high school teacher, I would click on the High School Correlation Table link, and it will take me to a folder that has both documents. The second way that I could access the correlation tables is by going to the Standard Reference Grading website. There is a link right here at the top of our list on our math website, or I posted the bit.ly on the previous screen. If I click over to go to our Standard Reference Grading website, I see up at the top that I have multiple options on this taskbar. I want to select the Proficiency Scales tab. Here I'm going to scroll down our list and see Math Proficiency Scales and Planning Documents. Select that option, and then again I was just looking at the high school correlations tables, so I'm going to select the high school math tab, and it's going to take me to a folder that has different planning guides for each high school class. Let's say I was looking for geometry's correlation table. I open up the folder and here it is, geometry correlation table. So there's two ways to locate the correlation table, one through the WPS Math website and another through the SRG site. Now that we have reviewed where to find your correlation tables, let's take a quick look at what this document will actually tell us. Across the top row of our table, it has listed the modules which we would cover out of our Carnegie text. If I'm trying to determine which scales I would need for the beginning of the year, I would start by looking in Module 1. I would then look down the column that's titled Topic 1. Going down this column will tell me which targets I will need. If I looked at the column to the left, I will see which scales correlate to those targets. So I know that in Module 1, Topic 1, I will need targets 1, 2, and 3 from Line and Angle Construction Scale. I'll also need targets 1 and 2 from the Parallel and Perpendicular Line Scale. And then I'll also need targets 1 through 4 from the Polygons and Coordinate Plane Scale. So in summary, this table breaks down which scales and specific targets will be needed during particular modules and topics along the course of the school year. One of the most important documents to familiarize yourself with would definitely be the instructional unit guide for your assigned course that you'll be teaching. Let's take a look at how you can locate the instructional unit guide multiple ways. To locate your course IUG, we can again begin by going to our WPS Math website and scrolling down past the SRG section to the Carnegie Learning section, and here you will find the links to all of the IUGs. So you can see there's regular and plus for middle school as well as adapted. Adapted does have its own separate IUG at the middle school level. Then all of the high school IUGs for core are listed here as well. So let's say I am a 6th grade teacher and I want to see what I'm going to be teaching to start the year. I can click on the link. Once I'm in this folder, I can go ahead and select 6th grade. I can double click on this PDF file and pull it up. The first page of each IUG is a summary or an overview of how the 45-minute periods break down by topic and module. If your school has gone to some sort of blocked type schedule, just cut the days in half. So instead of 14, you're probably going to have 7 days spent on topic 1, factors and area, etc. I do want to show you a couple of other things that are located within the IUG that will help you with your scales. So first of all, we talked about the correlation document. On page 3 of the middle school IUG, the correlation document is built into it, so there's another place you can find it. If we keep scrolling down, we do come to the Kansas grade level focus for our standards, and this is a really important document too. So it breaks it down and it color codes the major clusters, the supporting clusters, and the additional clusters. So we have intentionally scheduled more time in our IUG for the major clusters, and we recommend that you do that even more so in your own classes. We want to spend the bulk of the time on our major clusters. And I'll show you a little better snapshot of that here as we look at an actual topic. So if I continue to scroll down, I see the first topic. For 6th grade, it's Course 1, Module 1, Topic 1, which is Factors and Area, and here is how this document can really help you with your scales. So as we look a little bit further down, we see the breakdown of each lesson, and most importantly, over to the side, and this is at the middle school level, you have a direct link to the scale and which target is needed to address this lesson. So let's just say I'm getting ready to teach 113, slicing and dicing. I know that this lesson covers target 1 on the area and volume scale. I can click this hyperlink and it takes me directly to that scale where I can look at what the target is that it's being covered. I can look at the foundations, and I can even look at a level 4 in this case. Again, this is at the middle school level. For high school in the future, as scales roll out more, this is a change that will probably be coming. Another thing to take note when it comes to scales on our IUG, we talked about the major clusters and supporting clusters and additional clusters. On the next page, opposite of any of the topics, you'll see a breakdown of where these scale targets fall. So we can see that the evaluating algebraic expressions, target 2 that is hit on in this topic, is a green major cluster. We can see that area and volume is a blue, which is a supporting, and factors and multiples also green. So the IUG can help us know which scale targets go with which lesson. It can also help you delineate almost importance of target based on if it's a major cluster, an additional cluster, or a supporting cluster. As with the correlation tables, we can also find our instructional unit guides on the standard reference grading site for the district. We'll go to our proficiency scales link. Again, we'll click on our Math Proficiency Scales and Planning Documents link, and then within these two folders again, I'll go to middle school this time because we were looking at 6th grade. If I go to middle school, click on 6th grade once again, and I have my instructional unit guides listed within. So there's 2 ways again that you can track these down, either through the math website or through the district SRG site. So as we've been talking about locating resources to help you teach your proficiency scales, it would be pretty hard to do without actually knowing where to locate your proficiency scales. Again, we can look on the WPS Math website, up at the top section where it has standards reference grading, and the 2nd and 3rd links are to your scales. So again, let's say I'm a high school teacher, I can click on my math scales and determine which specific course I want to look at. Let's say I'm just doing Algebra 1. I can come in here, here's my Algebra 1 scales. As with our other resources, again, we can come into our standards reference grading site for the district. We could go to proficiency scales here, to our math link like what we've been doing, high school, and pick Algebra 1 from this folder. So again, 2 ways of locating your proficiency scales. Once you have located the appropriate scale for the section you're going to be teaching, this really will tell you the what behind what you need to teach. So remember that all of our targets and standards for each grade level live at the 3.0 level of our scale. As teachers, these are our must-do. So we must plan, we must teach, we must assess everything to the 3.0 level, keeping that in mind. Below that, we have the 2.0 information. Remember, this is foundational. These are things we may or may not specifically teach. We may or may not specifically hit on all the things that are listed. Remember, this is not a checklist. We don't have to go through all of the foundational information in order for a student to reach a 3. Oftentimes, as we're teaching to the 3, we'll automatically pull in foundational information and teach it, but this is really on a class-by-class, student-by-student need basis. So if a class needs to know a foundational skill, they're struggling with it, teach it to them. If you have another class that's not struggling with that foundational skill, then don't teach it to them. Again, it is not a checklist in order to reach the level 3. And then finally, up at the top of each scale, we have information that is above and beyond what the grade level target is requiring of students to do. Please note the verbiage difference between a 4.0 and a 3.0. At the 3.0 level, it reads that the student will. At the 4.0 level, however, it reads that the student could, meaning that what is listed on the scale is just one of many ways that a student could demonstrate learning that is above and beyond what the grade level target is requiring of the student. So again, a scale is going to give you the framework of what you need to be teaching to your students, and then you can go into your IUG and use your Carnegie materials to actually teach to these scales. The last thing to make note of about our scales is that these targets will already be preloaded for you by course into Synergy. So if I'm a 7th grade teacher, the targets are already uploaded into Synergy. I can attach it to an assignment or to a student and score them directly in Synergy. Our final resource got rolled out right before we left for spring break last school year. So at the beginning of this year is really the first time that people will have access to it and really dive in and work on it. And that resource is our Scales question bank. So again, on our WPS Math website, if we look at our SRG section, it is the 4th link down that says Middle School Math Scales Question Bank. So I apologize, high school folks. As of right now, this is mainly a middle school resource, and I say mainly because there is one exception. So if we click on this link, it will take us to our Scales Question Bank. What you can do is scroll down and determine which course that you are teaching. So in this case, remember, our scales don't change whether we're 6 plus or 6 adapted or regular on grade level 6. All of those scales are still the same. So I could click on the 6th grade, the 7th grade, the 8th grade, or Algebra 1. So high school folks, there is some information in Algebra 1, but the Algebra 1 section is really a work in progress. So if you're an Algebra 1 teacher, it's hit and miss on what's actually available in there. As the school year progresses, we'll get more stuff uploaded into Algebra 1 and eventually have it where the rest of high school courses are uploaded here as well. But for instance, let's say I am an 8th grade teacher. I could click the 8th grade tile. And it's going to give you a little breakdown of what to expect once you click on a link, so you could read that at your leisure. And then I could determine which scale I needed. So let's say I've looked through my IUG, I've pulled my angle relationships scale, I've planned, I've taught to that scale, and now I'm ready to assess to those targets that are on the angle relationship scale. What I can do is select this link. It will take me to a question bank for each target at each level on that particular scale. So you can see it's angle relationships, tells me what target 1 says. These are the 2.0 level questions. If I continue to scroll down, I will see that here are some 3 level questions. So this is at the target. And then I can also see some 4.0 level examples that might go above and beyond what the grade level target is saying. So once you're in here, you could copy and paste this into a document that you wanted to share with students. You could use a snipping tool to snip an image in some directions, put it into the document online for kids to use. Again, this is our Scales question bank, and we access this through the WPS Math website. To recap our learning from today about the available resources that we have to support Scales implementation into our classroom, we began by looking at our correlation tables. Then we explored our instructional unit guides, followed by our grade level proficiency scales, and finally, the Scales Question Bank website.
Thank you for taking part in today's professional learning opportunities. If you have any further questions or need any clarification, please don't hesitate to reach out to either myself, Cole Grady at cgrady@usd259.net, or my co-partner, Holly Ingram, hingram at usd259.net. Have a great year, everybody.